Okay, all right. So first, I'm going to present some of the tech updates that we've been doing lately on the core tech. Roberto will walk through some more, and Veronica as well. But wanted to give you a glimpse over what we have released in the past weeks and what's coming next on some of the components. Not to keep you too long, I'm going to speak about the GraphQL support and also the multi-chain provider. All right, so first let's briefly touch the GraphQL. First of all, why we added this. As you know, we had like URL support on the market and on all of the components, OceanPy, provider, OceanJS, and so on and so forth. But you guys actually from community asked for multiple types of data support, which made us think what kind of support could be useful and needed, and what's going to be most appropriate way to go forward. So we decided to include GraphQL, on-chain data support, IPFS, RWave, besides the URL type. Now I'm just going to briefly touch the GraphQL support that is already added, available within OceanPy, OceanJS, and Ocean Market. All right. So for those of you that don't know what GraphQL is, just briefly talking about it. So it's a query language for APIs that is flexible. That is a flexible alternative to RESTful APIs. Like, you know, you have the RESTful APIs where you have certain endpoints where you can fetch your data. Then based on those endpoints, you can gather the URL and publish it as a data set on the Ocean Market. But GraphQL is actually like you don't need to know all the APIs behind the door. You need to know the schema of the GraphQL, and you can specify through this query language, you can specify exactly what data do you need, and the server responds only with that data. So basically, it reduces like network overhead and enables for faster and more targeted data retrieval. It's particularly useful for complex applications with multiple data sources, as it allows easy aggregation and filtering of the data. So this is like a brief talk on the GraphQL and what it is. If you have more additional questions, please don't hesitate to interrupt and ask me. I'll try to get back with my knowledge. Let me show you how this actually looks like. So for instance, I have here our subgraph, the subgraph that is currently deployed, the V4 subgraph that is currently deployed on Polygon. And this subgraph responds to GraphQL queries. And what this means is that you can actually create a query where, for instance, right now, I'm asking for all of the NFTs that are available within the subgraph, and I'm ordering by created timestamp, and I'm fetching the ID, the symbol, and the created timestamp. So whenever I run this query, I'm going to get the data available from the subgraph. So I don't need to know like the specific NFT endpoint. I don't need to know a specific, I don't need to write a specific GET query as a REST API. But all I need to know is what kind of query does it support? What is its schema? Like what parameters can I extract from the server and pass them on and just fetch the data. So thinking of this is like, okay, let's say that you maybe have a server that you added GraphQL data support, and then what if you want to post and publish a data set on Ocean that gives and retrieves real-time data from that server using GraphQL? Well, actually, that is currently possible. The flow is quite simple. You just need to go to the Ocean Market. By the way, this is supported by OceanJS and OceanPy as well. So you can publish GraphQL queries from all the libraries. So when publishing a data set within the Ocean Market, you can specify that you want to publish a data set that is based on a GraphQL query. All you'll need to do is to add the URL of your server here, and the specific query that you want to use. I'm going to use exactly the same query that I used and showed here that is available on our subgraph. Also, you can add headers, which is quite an important part because it might be possible that, and this is highly recommended, that your server is gated by an authentication. So you can add here authentication headers, API key headers, and whatever to make sure that that data is retrievable. So when people download your data set, actually have access and can actually download the data set that you're providing. And once you fill in this information, it's super simple. You just need to fill in the URL and the query that you want to do. I don't have headers here. As you notice, this is a public API that is available. You just submit the query to validate that everything is working as expected. The provider will fetch the information, will confirm that there is a file, that the file is there, and that the query that you just wrote is okay from a schema perspective, and that the response is okay, and that's it. You can submit GraphQL backed data assets via this symbol flow. Also, this is available via OceanPy as well. Is available via OceanPy as well. It's the same thing when you, Cass, hey Cass, do you want to say something? Sorry, I interrupted a bit, but Cassiana, she's my colleague, and she's unmuted. So I'm thinking, Cass, do you want to say something, or you forgot to mute yourself?
No, sorry.
No worries, no worries. It's good to have you here. All right, so getting back to the GraphQL, via OceanPy, it's the same. You can publish data sets that are based on a GraphQL query, and it's the same flow, just in code. You need to specify the URL of the server, the query that you want to add. Also, you can add here the headers and other parameters as well. We have all this information within the docs. And then you can create the GraphQL asset with the helper method that OceanPy puts and is available. The same with OceanJS. Everything is available, and now you can publish GraphQL as data sets. And the data that is retrieved by that query is going to be published as a data set within Ocean. I'm going to stop for a moment here. Do you have any questions or thoughts related to this? Maybe this is something that you already knew. We noticed that there are some questions related to this on the Discord server, and we are trying to provide the information that is necessary for you to continue and be able to work with the Ocean stack. So that's why we're talking about the GraphQL, even though it was added for a few weeks within the stack. All right. So I guess everything is good. By the way, if you have questions that maybe right now you don't have a question in mind, but you have, jump ahead into tech issues, into dev launch, into all the channels that we have to ask. We'll try to offer the best support and guidance that we can. Right. So this was about the GraphQL. Here I had some more information that I briefly presented to you already with the screenshot with the Ocean market, how you can publish, and so on and so forth. All right, now the multi-chain provider. I'm gonna make this big. So as you know, right now we have the provider, which is a core component of the Ocean stack. But we faced some challenges, and also some of you reported this as an issue within your deployments, that we need to have, like, for each of the chains, and let's consider that Ocean is deployed to a few chains, we need to have a provider for each of the chains. This makes the debug a little bit difficult. This makes the deployment a little bit difficult. This makes the working with multiple chains more difficult than it should be. So we thought on how we can improve this, and we decided to make the provider multi-chain. Uh, what this means is that we're going to have one provider to serve all chains. So we're not going to have like provider for Polygon, provider for Gurley, provider for other chains, but rather have a provider that serves all the chains. Why is this? As I said, first of all, let's think, instead of 5 providers, we're going to have just one. And if you want to deploy your own components and you want to, I don't know, develop your marketplace, and you want to have your custom provider, it's going to make your life easier as well, because you need to have just one provider and not 5 or 10, depending on the number of chains that you want to support. The same is, it eases the deployment and maintenance. When you roll out a bug fix or a new version, you don't need to do 5 deployments, you just need to do 1, and that's all. The same with monitoring and debugging. We faced this issue where 4 providers were going well, 1 was going down, and that was an important one. So because of the network or stuff like that. But now, considering that there is just 1 provider to monitor, this is going to make the life easier on this end as well. And also another feature, a really cool feature that is introduced with this is, because the provider serves multiple chains, now there is the ability to actually run computer data jobs with assets from different chains. You can have an asset that is available on Polygon, and maybe you want to write your algorithm on Gurley to test it out. So you can run computer data jobs on assets that are on different chains. Just a note here, this right now feature is available at the libraries level, but it's not on the Ocean market. It will require heavy UI changes there, and we're still thinking how and why we should, and if we should do them. All right, one note on this multi-chain provider. So it's backwards compatible. Whatever was published till now with the old provider versions is going to be available and is going to be reachable just fine. So it's backwards compatible. This major provider version right now, 2.0.0, is released and available in Barge, but it's not released to production yet. We're still testing it out. We wanted to let you know ahead of time that some changes are going to be included within this new major release. This major release was already included in OceanJS 2.7.0 that is available on the NPM. On the OceanPy, we are releasing a new version these days. Is already included in the main. We just need to roll out a new version on the pipeline. And on the Ocean market, we are working currently on finishing the integration with this new multi-chain provider that serves multiple chains. So probably in the next following days, we will have everything integrated within production networks and chains as well. We will let you know. By the way, we have a new dev announcements channel where we are planning to push this updates from us towards you frequently. Want to let you know ahead of time what kind of changes are coming and how we are improving the stack, especially based on the feedback that we get from you. So yeah, in the following days, we will have, and you will see the multi-chain provider in action in production networks and deployed. And I'll stop now. Do you have any questions so far? All right. If not, thank you very much, Veronica. I'll stop sharing now because this is all that I had prepared for today.
That was a wonderful presentation. I'm really proud of the work that you guys have been doing. Those are really significant updates. And so congratulations on those 2 huge improvements. I know that took a lot of work and a lot of time. So I'm going to pass it to Idiom now to present. He is going to take over the second part of this presentation. We will have a Q&A at the end, so anyone who's been feeling shy, you can always drop your questions in the chat, but feel free to ask your questions at the very end as well. So keep those in mind throughout the presentation, please. So Idiom, take it off. Take it away.
Sure, yeah. I was going to say mine is going to be a lot less technical than that. And Anna, I loved it actually. I'm very much looking forward to having a leaner stack. So that's pretty cool. I'm very excited about what's going on there. So I was going to just kind of give a general update in terms of data farming and some of the stuff that's going on in the world of what we're calling here Team Sailfish or Stream 3. But I was going to just maybe pause and ask. I mean, there's a few people who have joined us today. Beluga Whale, Blockchain Luongo, Sylvia's Black, and Marketus. Have any of you, engaged with data farming or the ocean? When I say these terms, do they mean anything to you? Just getting a general barometer reading before I jump into things. Maybe I'll keep kicking off, but if any of you want to share, I'd love to maybe know where you are on the journey. So let me, perhaps just, I'm just going to start off, by just talking a little bit. Can you guys see my screen? There we go. Great. So, just as a general update, we've been iterating a lot on the app. We got a lot of really great updates planned, but just to kind of help to onboard everybody, we want to make sure everybody understands what VE Ocean is and what we are building as as part of the incentives for Ocean Protocol. It's been really exciting to put this in place because it kind of lays an outline, and Veronica had already done a fantastic job with the rewards tutorial that covers this step by step. But now we kind of laid out a bit of a more of a technical outline for VE Ocean and data farming, and the different sections for how you will onboard and learn a little bit more about the underlying systems that are driving Ocean Protocol's incentive mechanisms. And you'll learn about VE Ocean, which is our governance token. It's a fork of Curve. It will give you all sorts of insights about how it works. Such topics as time locking. And once you understand VE Ocean, data farming and the rewards will become probably very much second nature to you. And we're really looking forward to continue to expanding on many of the systems and features behind this, so that more and more participants can access the incentives that we're building. So, I'm just giving a pretty general, very high level update on the documentation. We have also been, running these workshops that we're hoping to continue to, provide this opportunity for us to engage with everybody in the community. The key goal, again, is for Ocean, as Trent puts it, right? We're working out more towards a curve model, meaning that now, the way for us to align with the protocol is to do the work, right? We have to now bring in data assets like Anna showed us earlier, such as how can we, publish more assets and create more value streams within Ocean itself, right? It's been really great to see how teams are thinking about how to bring assets or how to bundle them together as part of as how to make it easier to access these rewards and access these systems, you know, and to expand on this further, right? There are many ways for you to access this, and one of the ways to do so is now through uh, Poseidon Ocean, and I'm just looking for it here. I believe I had mentioned it here, but if not, I would just bring that over here. Maybe this would be a time where I'll introduce them. But H2O, which is one of, they are part of this group called New Order. They're very known in the DeFi world. They have now built this token called Poseidon Ocean, and you can go in there and launch their DApp. And in here, you can purchase Poseidon Ocean. And what Poseidon Ocean does is that very briefly tells you right here, once you buy it, it auto stakes. But if you do not want it to auto stake, you can also do it manually. But the point is that by staking Poseidon Ocean, you basically automatically earn revenue from all of these systems that we are building internally. So if you're familiar at all with the Curve world, Curve has this token there called Convex, and Convex works on top of Curve. And very similarly here, Poseidon Ocean works on top of VE Ocean. So I just wanted to, touch on some of these things. We're going to continue to expand on some of these topics, perhaps to answer questions and, allude towards systems like Poseidon Ocean, like I've done just now. But we're just, one touch point towards bringing more intuition towards these systems and more knowledge around data farming and VE Ocean and many of the topics involved here. And again, I want to just thank Veronica for doing such a great job on the original tutorial on how to get and access all of these systems. So now we are hoping to, explain this in a little bit more detail, because this does touch into code as, Anna showed earlier. You can deploy assets directly from Python, from JavaScript. You can build all of these reward streams directly from just some simple lines of Python. And at least from where I'm looking at, it's really great to see the kind of value flows that you can configure inside of Ocean. So I'm going to pause here. Maybe somebody has any questions about the topic, or is there anything you can answer at this point? No questions? Okay. So maybe what I'll do is to say that if you are interested in learning more, I'm going to stop streaming. If you want to learn more, we're running these workshops and introductions towards data farming and how it works. And we take a look at the app and we talk both at it from the investment side, so how to find good data assets and how to curate them. And we also talk about publishing, so how to publish GraphQL streams and how to publish assets and how to try to build value loops so that we can create value end to end on top of the protocol and benefit from it through the data farming program. So if anybody is interested to learn more, please come and join the data farming workshops. Thank you. So I believe it's back to you, Veronica. Do you have any questions for data farming, Veronica? Any feedback there?
Yeah, so I did want to add,
Melissa?
yeah,
Is that all right?
yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I
Okay.
can hear you now.
Yeah, I do want to add, I saw that in the chat that Ex Marketus was unfamiliar with data farming in general. I do want to just kind of break it down in like a 60-second, 30 to 60-second nutshell. So data farming is yield farming on data sets and algorithms that are hosted on the ocean market. And the way it works is you can lock your ocean tokens for VE Ocean token, and that stands for Vote Escrowed Ocean. And what you do with that Vote Escrowed Ocean is you allocate that voting token to your favorite data sets and algorithms to gain yield. And how do you gain yield? Well, when those data sets and algorithms sell, you get a portion of their sales. And so this is what we call active rewards. You are actively participating in generating your rewards because you're voting and taking control of how you generate rewards. If you publish a data set or an algorithm yourself, you can actually get double the active rewards if those data sets and algorithms sell, right? So it's definitely an incentive program to publish high quality data sets and algorithms and vote on them, or basically publish such high quality data sets and algorithms that people want to buy them and vote, put their VE Ocean allocation to those assets. Of course, you can also get passive rewards just for locking your ocean tokens. So you can generate both passive and active rewards. Talking about all of this technology, I do want to point you guys to the VE Ocean tutorial on YouTube, and that will transition us into the Ocean Python library YouTube videos as well. So let me share my screen and screen one, go live. Okay, so you should see an infinite mirror right now. Okay, so our YouTube channel is at Ocean Protocol, so you can find all of, including the recording of today's developer relations workshop, you'll be able to find different workshop recordings, tutorial videos, and if you type in VE Ocean in the search bar, VE Ocean, then you'll see the very first tutorial on VE Ocean and data farming. And this goes step by step through how to lock your ocean tokens and then allocate them to different data sets. I do want to transition to talking about Ocean Python library. So as Anna mentioned, Ocean Python library is just one of the several repositories of our open source tools that you have at your disposal. You can launch data NFTs. You can tokenize your data sets and algorithms programmatically without using the Ocean Market GUI. You can do so using the Ocean Python library. If you go to our GitHub, then you will see, hold on a second, Ocean Python library. You will see all of the information that you need to use, and you can start by looking at the readmes for the install.md step, and then that will guide you through how to install Ocean Python library. And then at the end, we guide you into remote setup or local setup to set up user accounts for Alice and Bob accounts to transact a real data NFT. And so if you do the remote setup, then finally, after you prepare Alice and Bob with some fake Matic and fake Ocean on the Mumbai Polygon testnet, then you can go to, at the end here, to the main flow. And that's where you actually do the transacting of the data NFT. Now, some of you may not, be as much reader learners. You may prefer YouTube tutorials, And that's my job, is to create YouTube tutorial videos to explain the programmatic steps that you need to go through to use Ocean Protocol tools. I do other things at Ocean too. I do marketing. I, have other variety of tasks. But what I am very passionate about is the video creation. So with that, I want to show you the playlist called README Walkthroughs. And this right now is for Ocean Pi. So we released the install Ocean Pi video, the remote setup video. Next is going to be main flow, and we'll continue diving deeper and deeper and deeper into the Ocean tech stack with all the videos that we release. If you are unsure still what Ocean Pi is, we have a video, What is Ocean Pi? That's kind of like a teaser. I stopped on a funny freeze frame there.
Nowadays, it's
anyway. So Ocean Pi is, like I said, just one tool at your disposal. Feel free to go ahead and look through our YouTube channel for any kind of video content that might help you. Lastly, blog.oceanprotocol.com has more information, very detailed, granular information about Ocean Protocol tech and updates. You see a lot of, on Thursdays, our data farming updates. And it's important to read those if you are calculating specific APYs and how to maximize your yield. We get very technical in those. And Trent, our founder, or one of our founders, he has been publishing the Ocean Pi blog posts that discuss the READMEs and the videos and the motivation behind the steps and the reason that we are doing things. So you can always go to the search bar and search Ocean Pi, and then that will by default search in the Ocean Protocol medium. And then you can find those Ocean Pi blog posts, and they all have like a AI generated Python there. So that's what I'm working on and what I have to present. Does anyone have any questions about data farming, GraphQL, multi-chain provider, or the videos or the blog? Anything that you guys can think of? This is the time now for a Q&A. So anyone who's been saving up their questions to the end.
Hi, just correct me if I'm wrong. So like in data farming, we can now like participate as like governance participation and get involved in the protocols you guys have, right? And we'll receive incentives for it.
That's correct. You
like,
can.
Yeah. Okay, so like how we will receive the incentives? Like, do we have to stake on that PSDN tokens or something like that?
So Poseidon Ocean is one of the ways that you can generate yield. You can claim your rewards for, and let me share my screen again.
Sorry, I got kicked out.
Okay.
So you can do it in different ways. Do you want to take it over, Veronica?
Sure. I'll share my screen real quick to show the data farming data. Okay, so df.oceandao.org. So if you go to df.oceandao.org, then you will be able to find the, and I'm not going to connect my MetaMask right now, but on the rewards tab, you'll see these two boxes, right? And when you are able to claim your rewards, you can click these pink buttons to claim your Ocean rewards every Thursday when they're released. So instead of saying get VE Ocean and set allocations, they'll actually say claim Ocean rewards. And then when you click on those, then those go directly to your wallet. And so it's an easy way to every week claim your rewards while your Ocean is locked. And then when active rewards are released as well. So This round just started. You can see that we have some passive rewards APY. The active rewards hasn't begun yet. We're still very early on into the week. But know that we dispense 150,000 ocean tokens this week. 75,000 ocean tokens are available as rewards to everyone. They're divided based on how much people have locked up their ocean for, or how much ocean that they did lock up. And then active rewards, you can get up to 75,000 ocean tokens as well for that. Or not individually, but that is split up among the different data sets that are ranked by sales. And then so the ocean rewards are dispensed by data set and then by amount that you allocated per data set. Now for the Poseidon Ocean at h2odata.xyz, okay, the thing that's really cool about this is you can actually, and I'll just sign, I have to pull up my password. I wrote it down and stuff. But anyway, the Poseidon Ocean DApp is within h2odata.xyz website once you connect your wallet. And I wouldn't want you guys to see the contents of my wallet anyway. But you can actually log in and then lock your ocean for Poseidon Ocean or PSDN Ocean. And when you do that, then you can enter the staking, single-sided staking, or enter the Poseidon Ocean liquidity pool and generate yield that way. And it is very profitable. It's profitable without the risk of having to pay gas fees for active rewards, right? When you allocate your VE Ocean to different data sets, you have to pay some gas. And then you may not, if your data sets and algorithms that you selected don't sell, then that's a risk to you. And so you can minimize the risk by allocating or by staking your ocean, your Poseidon Ocean, or entering that liquidity pool, Poseidon Ocean liquidity pool, and then generate more than what you would have gotten in passive rewards. Generally speaking, it's the maximum yield is firstly passive rewards and active rewards combined, but then next best is Poseidon Ocean, and then the least, but also the least complex way to invest is just staking, locking your ocean tokens for VE Ocean and generating those passive rewards. So I hope that wasn't too complicated there. Roberto, do you want to add anything or share your screen?
Oh, I was going to maybe say that it's a one-way street with Poseidon, at least in terms of when you stake your ocean, you get Poseidon Ocean, but you can't go back. You have to get rid of it. You can sell it, but you cannot. It's a one-way stake because when you put in the ocean into the system, it's going to lock it up for as long as it can. So just read the fine print. It's a really great system. It can facilitate and benefit a lot of people, I believe. However, there's some things in terms of how it works. So there's multiple ways to access all the rewards, and I quite like what Poseidon Ocean is doing. So I think it's something to familiarize yourself with. Yeah, thanks for that. Thank you, V.
Definitely. And if you're still unclear but curious about Poseidon Ocean, I just interviewed the strategy lead for H2O Protocol. H2O Protocol built Poseidon Ocean, capabilities for being able to lock your ocean and gain yield from converting to PSDN Poseidon Ocean. And then also they set up the liquidity pool. So H2O Protocol's strategy lead, I did do an interview with them and published that interview on YouTube. So the link was actually dropped in the chat. with the purple background and the squid, on the YouTube thumbnail there. So thanks, Norbert, for linking that. Any other questions or things that are unclear to you about data farming or any other topics we discussed?
I was going to say, so it's pretty neat what's going on with the multi-chain provider. I am wondering if when is that scheduled for an update or release? Is there any dates around that? I think I'm just thinking about, more teams I believe are interested in C2D capabilities, and I wonder if it would be interesting to hack some things around that. Just not actually suggesting any of this. This is just me jazzing it up over here.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me give you some context. So right now, the multi-chain provider is released. Like we have a version, it is deployed. And right now, one of my colleagues told me that it's integrated with OceanPy as well. So we have the release for OceanPy and OceanJS. So what we're doing right now, we're testing. We're testing to make sure that everything that was published so far still runs accordingly and properly, and it works. And probably in the next few days, I cannot promise anything. Like, you know how testing is. Sometimes you discover bugs that takes days. Sometimes everything works like a charm. So we're testing.
Close to the weekend.
Yeah. Also, that's true. So we're still testing the multi-chain provider, making sure that everything works, and then we will release it.
That's pretty neat. I think it's going to be great to have something like that where, if you're having the jobs coming through there for C2D and it's all coming through one component, it's going to be a really nice way to integrate things into it. So I'm very excited about that. That's a really great architectural change that can help a lot of really different things.
Mm-hmm. And it's great for our components and also for people that want to deploy their own provider. That's what we had in mind when we switched it up, because we realized that it's quite difficult to deploy 5 providers if you want to support 5 networks and keep them all up and running and working and debugged and monitored and so on and so forth. So I think this is going to help us, not just us, but the entire community that wants to have their own provider running. So yeah, the development team, like I'm talking about this, but let me add something. The development team did an amazing job there. I'm just presenting. I am not the one that worked. So we have here Bogdan that worked a lot. Kalina worked a lot. So we have multiple persons that worked on this. So all the credits go to the engineering team.
I've been having a lot of fun with the Google emojis because when you click them a lot, they kind of grow in size. So I'm just discovering this new world.
Oh my God, I just seen that. I thought it's something. I didn't know. I thought it's something from my screen, but I realized now that is so fun.
Yeah, but great work, everybody. It's super exciting to see all the effort being put into these streams and a lot of the different parts of the tech. So I'm very excited to see what's coming up.
Yep.
I was going to say, can you maybe share a bit more intuition for those who are not familiar with the provider, the kind of can you just talk a little bit more about a couple of the features in there? How does the GraphQL part that you showed us, does that connect to the provider in any way? Can you maybe talk a little bit about that? Or maybe somebody else here can.
I'm thinking that maybe Mihai is a better person to discuss about this because it's like more technical. What do you say, Mihai? Can you jump in on this one?
I just joined, so yeah, sure. Hello. If you're asking regarding the multi-chain provider that has no impact on this feature, the GraphQL integration is implemented through the provider. So basically, when you define this file type, either on the market or in any library, OceanJS or OceanPy, what the provider does is actually call the said GraphQL URL and validates it before actually publishing the asset. So that is when you consume the asset, the provider resolves the data from the GraphQL query and then serves it to the user that downloaded. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, great. So basically, if I'm the developer, I call ocean.js. Ocean.js is then able to send the request to this service called the provider, and then the service kind of resolves what it needs to resolve to go and fetch that GraphQL URL, decrypt it, and then serve it back to the library, right? And then me as a developer, I get that back.
That is correct. Right? Correct. So you as a developer can find out that behind that service is a GraphQL query, but you don't know anything else. So everything else is private. And you just call the download function and that's it. Your job is done. You'll get the data.
Very cool. So the provider then acts a bit, so it's a service and acts a little bit like a proxy, and it kind of does some handshaking and kind of.
It's exactly a proxy.
For these libraries.
It's exactly a proxy that validates that you have a valid order. Sorry for the. So it checks if you have a valid order. It checks that you are the actual wallet that did that order, and then it provides you with the data without showing you where the data was coming from.
Very cool.
Obfuscating the source.
Right. And also the encryption, obfuscation, all of that stuff, which is really cool. It's getting used in some really fun ways now, I think, through the Predict ETH challenge. But without going and touching into that, I just wanted to stay on the provider here. So there's this multi-chain provider now. It's going to be able to also handle requests from C2D jobs across different chains. And now it's this one service. It can also do this brokerage, this handshaking, proxy work with GraphQL. It can do that also, I believe, with Arweave. Is that handled also on the provider? Is that right?
Yes, all the data sources are handled through the provider. So yes.
Right. Great. Awesome. So if I wanted to add some more, I could. Now that this thing's all in one provider and I can kind of deploy it and it's multi-chain, it's going to be a lot easier also to build on that too, right? So if I want to expand that, or from a developer playing with OceanStack, that's a fun place to go and hack around. Is that
right? In theory, yes. Maybe. You could do that, yeah. Well, not in theory. You could do that. You just need to fork it and you can add whatever data source you want.
Okay.
So we've had other projects in the past that have forked both compute to data and the provider and did really complicated customizations on them.
So if they were a bit simpler and perhaps to the point, would that be easier to manage as an integration?
Can you rephrase that?
Sure. Let's say I wanted to play around with something. What are some of the considerations you would recommend to me if I wanted to do something that's meaningful at all? Do you have some recommendations for me?
Regarding the provider? Or in general?
Yeah. So let's say I wanted to add a new data source. What would you recommend to me that I pay attention to? Or I wanted to expand the provider in some way to add a new service to it. Do you have some recommendations for me?
Well, I'm not very in touch with the code from the provider per se, but you would be able to fork it pretty easily and just follow the patterns of the other file types it's pretty organized, so it's not that complicated to add another one. So you just need to follow the patterns of the other ones.
Okay, that's a good general programming recommendation. Thank you. Totally get that. Is there any, who is the person that's most familiar with the different provider integrations? Would that be Kalina and Maria? Or not even Alex?
Yeah, but Alex is not here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Who
that
else?
would be Kalina or Maria.
Okay.
Because they have been working on the provider most.
I see. Awesome. Okay. Any recommendations for you, Maria? Just look at the other patterns. Maybe she will respond. Okay, cool, great. Well, thank you for letting me ask a bunch of questions behind and be annoying and yeah, it was great. Thank you for that.
No worries. I think they were very constructive.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I had a good idea of the provider, and it's really great to be able to pull on that thread and see where it goes. So thank you for answering them. And I don't know if that was redundant or not, but yeah, thank you for that.
I think it helps everybody here. So great questions, Roberto. Keep them coming.
I need maybe another round of coffee before I get better questions.
All righty.
Well, it seems like there's no other questions. I'm so proud of how well this went. I think for our first developer relations workshop that this was a big success. I hope that this was very informative and that we'll see you guys at the next developer relations workshop. For that, stay tuned to Twitter, Discord announcements. You'll also see some of our posts on Reddit, and other channels that we support, YouTube, for example, and the recording of this will be on YouTube. So thank you guys very much. It's top of the hour, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for hosting this beat.
Of course.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Everyone. Bye.
Bye.